Hello to everyone who will be seeing this in the near future. I am the Narrative Crusader, and
At your command.
today we're doing an Epirus campaign. This will be one of the 3 series that I will be starting this week. Hopefully you are going to be entertained through the journey that we will be taking in reconquering the Byzantine Empire and maybe further. First move we're going to make is we're going to get rid of the pikemen, because the pikemen are not a great unit. Same with the skirmishers. I'm only getting rid of one skirmisher though, and that is just because they're a lot cheaper. I don't want to be going with the higher tier armies, or high tier with the mod currently, until I've got the right amount of money for it. Then I'll begin switching it around.
Ready for orders.
Anyway, for now, technology wise, I would say hesychastic practices are a very important tech for you to get. I always get it, first of all, just because you can just turn this into an orthodox skeet or sket. I literally don't know. Looking at our family tree over here, our king, Michael, has a son called Michael who's the heir, and in addition, he's not married. That's going to be an issue. We got a disloyal brother, Theodoros. He'll make a pretty good general. So, pretty good to know that. We got another brother called Constantinos over here. He would again be a very good general. As you can see, he's got the rider trait and he's got fear, meaning he'll be able to stop people from maybe going into formations or using abilities that might keep them in combat for longer or kill my troops faster. Here we got raised banner. It's basically just a massive buff to your morale. We got Alexios, who again, good general. Nikephoros, who is a great general with the attack trait. And Konstantinos, who could be a decent governor because of the defender trait. It is still going to affect the garrison of a city. We got Manuel over here, who again, decent general. And it turns out that our actual king, Michael, would be a good governor because of his trait, merchant. This man cares little for nation, allegiance or creed, only for coin. Wealth from commercial buildings plus 10 and later 20%. Not too bad. So my plan is to get Nikephoros to lead the army first and foremost. So yep, Nikephoros. And we're going to later put Michael in a position of in a governing position. You can see very little control over our state, 40%, which really isn't that much for those times anyway. Now I actually will cancel the Orthodox Church conversion. I would rather first get a trading dock just for the sake of getting more money.
We hunger for battle.
So for this campaign, my goal is to wait. I want to get the map up. What I want to do is take all of Dalmatia, Balkania, Thracia, Achaia, Asia, Insulae Orientalis, Cilicia, Bithynia, Cappadocia, Armenia, Caucasia, Assyria, Syria, Palestina, Mysia, Barca, and Ethiopia. Basically, just recreate the Eastern Roman Empire. Then, if I want to continue the series, I would reconquer all of the Roman Empire, meaning Pannonia, Bavaria, Romagna, Italia, Lombardia, Calabria e Sicilia, Insulae Occidentalis, Chifirikia, or however you say that, Cabulus, Sahara, Maghreb, Andalusia, Castellanova, Lusitania, Leon, Castella et Aragonia, Provincia, Aquitania, Alemannia, Lotharingia, Anglia, Mercia, Caledonia et Hibernia, and Francia. We've already played our first
Ready for orders.
moves, so as a continuation,
Soldiering.
I'm
It's a good life.
just going to wait. As you can see, I was thinking I could get multiple of these Epirus swordsmen, which are basically the worst version of the Squatoid swordsman. Now going to pass the turn, and we learn we don't have a provincial governor, but that is because we just have a bunch of good generals and training commanders. No actual good governors, which is a shame. My first plan is to attack this Kingdom of Thessalonica. Favors for him to get into office. And Michael's going to go into the Dyrrhachium and just secure the loyalty of our brother here, Theodoros. I could have actually waited and gotten someone like Meletios, who is a good governor because he gets extra authority, but that doesn't really matter currently. And we can finally get that skate going. Skate. Again, I do not know. In terms of diplomacy, we've got Trebizond and Nicaea. Nicaea doesn't really want to be friendly to us, which is a shame. And Trebizond doesn't really care about us, as you can see. King Alexios, not very caring in terms of his fellow Byzantine brethren. And again, neither will we be.
We offer you
Then
honest welcome.
The Tsardom of Bulgaria.
Speak, friend, and hopefully later we will drink to seal our agreement.
As you can see, I was trying to get a treaty with them. Yeah, I'm not going to be finding any success in that, sadly. And that is a great shame. Over here, we are going to settle the tribes. And I'm also going to quickly lower some of the sound settings. Speech predominantly. I'll go down. Effects. And I'm going to test it with Bulgaria.
The day's greetings to you.
Yeah, that's a lot better. Some people might be wondering, watching this, why I haven't built up my army and went after Thessalonica already. And that's because currently I care more for actually developing my capital at Dyrrhachium. No one's said Dyrrhachium, so don't really know the actual way to say it. Anyway, now that we're going to be getting a good amount of money with the maintenance cost and the trading docks coming into play, I'm going to once again fail to realise that I cannot get any of these Epirus swordsmen, or really any unit. I could get 2 cavalleroi, or cavalry, but that is not important to me currently.
Commander, make haste, men.
I do though go to Thessalonica and see it unprotected. Only a few militia, bow militia, spear militia, 2 sergeants, these Latin chevaliers, which already tells me that this is a fort. As you can see, way too much information to actually see the name of the city. Type. Well, as you can guess, a castle. A humble upgrade. It's got these 2 annoying bash catapults and some crossbowmen.
We hunger for
I am now wondering where their army is, the Kingdom of Thessalonica. And they've got a 9-year-old on the throne, which is shocking to say the least. Now, the time of Bulgaria.
Welcome, worthy guest.
We are going
I
to
trust you bring words that
exploit
will enhance
that
the honor of your people in our eyes.
to get a non-aggression pact and a trade agreement. And with that, we
get the stakes up.
encamp. I want to build up the army a little bit before we go. So at least 2 turns, and I'll be able to get at least 3 units of these Epirus swords, which, although not being as good as the Skotatoi swordsman or Skuatoi swordsman, they are still a decent enough unit for me to actually care that they exist. They are sure not the best, but they are not absolute garbage either. As you can see, a small army under a man called Livio was just raised,
We hunger
and
for
this has got me thinking. I could get the garrison to march out into battle
ready for battle.
currently, and that would give me a huge
Are you ready
advantage.
to serve?
I will decide to be cautious though, just get some units for now. I
At your
really need
command.
them, because if they are going to march out against me in this fortification, I might as well have some extra infantry. In addition to that, a extended infantry line would be of use. However, the Bulgarians have scared off that Thessalonican army. This is really showing that Thessalonica is extremely weak, and Nikephoros, after the training, is planning to attack that. I'm just checking here. Our king, Michael, can get himself a wife, and that is going to be important in the future, because that means we won't be getting any more bastard children, meaning Michael doesn't have to be the king in the future. I could just pass it on actually to Konstantinos, or Theodoros, or even Manuel, who all have bad loyalty, which I currently cannot fix though. Sadly, we passed the turn, and I know we're wasting a lot of time just sitting here, upgrading our force, but the big thing is, if we want to win as easily as possible over at Thessalonica, we will need it. As you can see, a Latin army over in Council of Tarnovo. And then we get an event. The Catholic Pope has decided to call a crusade for Cairo in Egypt. And obviously, being an Orthodox faction, I'm not going to accept that. I don't need to. This is a Catholic event, and I am an Orthodox faction. That does not mean I'm not planning to take the Holy Land, obviously. It's just that I have not got the plan into work yet. I'm still needing to expand my influence down in Greece. Anyway,
Ready for orders.
I think to say something about uniting and invading Egypt there. And currently, my next plan is to get military aristocracy to get the Despot Palace. It is going to be a late game building, but a good building to have nonetheless.
Besieging settlement.
And as you can see, the fortifications gave a huge advantage over to the Kingdom of Thessalonica there. We
Let
can
them
just
cower like
construct 2
kennel
sets of
dogs.
towers, and then get a second army going under Konstantinos,
At your command.
just to sit her there. And we find out that there's been a marriage. Lucky Michael then, and everyone's loyalty's back up. now as well. Our two other sons can take that over. It seems like some of the nobles have passed away as well. It's unlucky and lucky for us at the same time. I'm currently still that Latin army under Henry, attacking Alexander over in Tarnovo. I do want to actually have a look at the garrison, and the garrison should be able to win. Desperate spearmen there actually, which should really be a Epirus unit, thinking it has despot in it, and obviously we are despoted.
Ready for orders.
Right. This army
Soldiering.
is just going to
It's a
get
good life. We need good
few
fighters.
units here, just a few cavalry and spearmen, which we're going to be bringing in after Thessalonica is won. Michael, just going to level up as a governor. We're not going to try and level him up as a general, just purely because he is a better governor, and we want to keep him governing our cities.
As long as our
Croatia
strength
is
remains,
willing to give us a
we would
non-aggression
be
pact
honored
as well.
to count you as
And,
friends and more.
I'm just forced to accept it. I would have given them a little bit of money. Or I would have forced them to give me a little bit of money actually, if I could, but it was impossible. They probably would have immediately said no to the offer. A worthy bride. Religious trait, giving many bonuses for governing, which we are going to accept. Gabriella is protective. Extra personal influence for our King Michael, in addition to agent self-defense, which means extra chances of wounding the aggressor, but the hostile agent success chance is higher. So even though we will be able to actually secure the fact that
And honor.
basically we're assured
Laying
that we
siege to the
will
settlement.
not
Ready for battle.
lose our king to an assassin, but it does also mean that we will be in a lot of trouble
We hunger
when
for
an agent
battle.
does actually decide to try to attack
For
our
death
king.
and honor.
Here in the forest, I was just checking the despot's bodyguard and their upkeep, and it's huge at 437. My archers, which are, I believe, the highest upkeep unit I've got, other than the despot's bodyguard, are loads less. I wasn't really willing to do the maths at the time, but it is around 100. Or even over 100 extra upkeep. My power is on the rise apparently, which is a good thing. Although we are going to begin using public order pretty heavily actually, but the tax rate is going to go up. Loyalty is actually going to go down now. So anyway, the Komnenos Dorcas dynasty, which is our ruling dynasty. As you can see, our King Ioannes, or our first leader, and then we got obviously the King Michael and all his brothers. Now Nick Forrest is not the most loyal man in the world, and that's a bit annoying because we could do with a good general like Nicephorus being loyal to us. Now, going into the next turn, we're just awaiting Thessalonica's move. As you can see as well, the town of Bulgaria, their king is all the way over in Skopje. So no problem for us. Now, the Kingdom of Thessalonica's army is just down south. And then we learned Theodorus and Marcos had a son. Pisa and the Hafsids have went to war, and traits been gained. Religious influence for the Sikh religion, because our king is now respectful. Like Tarnovo has saved itself, the city being under siege for ages, but the armies are not getting away as scot-free. Henry now being on the chase. We are just going to keep sieging them out. We don't
We
need
take
siege
this
increases.
settlement. We hunger for
So yeah, it's going to continue. Our other army under our other commander, our other general, the other noble in our court currently, is just going to keep recruiting units. We will need those units for the siege at Thessalonica to make it even easier and also resolvable. And the reason that I do not want to fight that, even though I probably could defeat them in the end, is purely because I've just first of all, I don't want to take as many losses. Second of all, it is actually really worth it to not fight the siege yourself. They are, unlike normal Attila, pretty difficult to fight actually. I'm just going to put the taxes back up. I will lower them later on when obviously Thessalonica is captured. I was just searching it out. There is a castle for them. They are Orthodox and of this culture, meaning they should technically have the same style of city as me, but it turns out not to be so. Which means they might be of Latin culture actually. The olive orchard there, really good building, gives a lot of wealth, able to pay for one despot guard, which is already pretty impressive, and sure, it gives out a lot of squalor, but it gives loads of food, and it gives us a natural resource, which we will need. Down in Misras, or Corinth, the Achaean army under Andre is just sitting there, not able to afford any more units apparently, because they haven't been doing anything. Trebizond is actually starting to hate us for some reason, and it might be because they really like the Thessalonians. Nicaea, on the other hand, is beginning to, it's also beginning to hate me more. And I seriously don't know why. I know about the whole schism thing, the whole division of the empire, and people trying to reconquer it, and stuff like that. But seriously, I would expect that the Byzantine kingdoms would just unite against the Latins, even if it meant that they would go into rivalry right after the Latins were defeated. And out there you can see the Latin army has ran away apparently, because it is no longer on the map for us. It's no longer visible. But they did take Tarnovo, which obviously isn't good news for us.
Our war has brought bloodshed.
The Kingdom of
without
Thessalonica
gain or
wants
progress.
peace.
Let us end this
Obviously,
senseless conflict for the good of all.
we are going to ask for trade, military access, non-aggression, and tons of money. And when they give anything other than that, we just reject instantly. Venice and the Ibis have gone to war. I do want to check actually how many people were at war with the Ibis, but I have not discovered their faction apparently. I've just heard of them. And now I learned Tarnovo might have been retaken, it might have just been conquered. I do not know if it's been retaken, or maybe if it's resisted. If it's resisted, then it obviously means I was probably looking at Philippopolis over here. It does a really blend. And as you can see, it does say this is Philippopolis. Obviously, the Latins could declare war on us at any point, and that's not really a good thing to realize. Now, the Warriors of Divine Justice are just going to keep recruiting. We are waiting for those 2 Epirus swords to actually recruit, which they should soon. And again, the siege has been going on for ages, and I'm hoping soon they will actually decide to sally out so that we can have a battle, which would be on pretty even terms. The Thessalonican army shows up in the south again, probably to our lands. We do get a mission, a religious request. The patriarch requests that we build a church to help spread our religion, and we are told to begin the construction of a church.
To victory!
First, we are going to upgrade Nikephoros.
We take this settlement!
And even though the walls are absolutely crumbling, apparently they still got some sort of advantage over us. Let's also not forget, we heavily outnumber them and outstrengthen them as well in hand-to-hand combat. Those walls and the towers though are very deadly. I have learnt that myself. I have lost 2 sieges purely because of the towers. The towers being so powerful. I had a unit of heavily armed. Was in my George campaign, Auxeri nobles or something, or as now these swordsmen, I believe it is. That's what they're called. They are heavy. They are a pretty well armored. I shouldn't say heavy because it actually might list them as a light or medium infantry unit. But anyway, they did have decent armor, and yet it still seemed to absolutely melt through them. Anyway, religious request has been fulfilled, and the religious influence of Orthodox Christianity world action wide has increased. And I think that might be just because we began constructing the building. We also get mercenary contracts, but the current state of this mod, that is absolutely useless to know.
Ready for further orders. We take this settlement!
And now we're just going to finally end the siege. And we do take decent casualties, 807 to be exact.
Commander,
We lose and occupy,
ready
and
for battle.
we actually cannot send our other army out.
At your command.
This castle could be worthwhile.
We hunger for battle.
We upgrade the olive orchards, Orthodox Church, and as Nildum Ness could actually be useful later on. We could turn it into either a gibbet or into a pronoiarios palace. Yeah, there we go. I am prepared for Greeks willing to roast me in the chat. Or sorry, in the comments later on. I am ready. Anyway, the Kingdom of Serbia suddenly loves us.
Welcome,
I
welcome, my
am
friend.
not sure
I will give
why,
ear to you
but
and
I
give tongue
will
to the people's
sell
words.
one of the royal ladies in my court over to them for the ability to have some treaties. And you see me lowering the price, and in the end they reject it anyway. And I try again. do accept it, actually. And now I can actually do the same with Serbia.
You will
Sorry,
find me
not
a
Serbia,
willing
Croatia.
and attentive audience for your speech. Give tongue
And,
to your words, and I will answer.
The way we're going to do it is we're going to give them military access. As you can see, they're willing to pay quite a chunk for it. All 5,000 ducats, or however you want to call it, from their treasury, which is
Commander,
something I find absolutely
for battle.
hilarious.
Ready for orders.
Because you would
Commander.
expect those people to have a brain large enough to
Ready for
realize that
battle.
giving their whole treasury away for the ability to marry a woman is
I want
not
hourly
really the best
patrols.
idea.
Ready for
Anyway,
orders.
this army under Constantinos is going to march right back
We
to
hunger for
Dyrrachium,
battle.
while Nikephoros is going to be now sitting with his 19 unit stack over in Thessalonica. We're going to sign the governor, and Michael is now able to be added. And I see this Michael Pelagios. I'm just looking through the candidates for from noble families, and this Pelagios person's a patron, meaning we get more wealth from cultural buildings when he's around. So I wanted to look at anything that might give me cultural money,
At your command.
especially in Thessalonica. And turns out that the icon maker would give me a pretty nice amount of culture money. And that's basically it. And Despot's Palace, which is one of the unique buildings, would give me wealth and culture as well, meaning Despot's Palace would be a very valuable building to have. I go down to the voivodeship
Be
of
welcome.
Wallachia,
Let
then,
us talk, and then enjoy
And
good
just,
Roman wine when we have agreement.
just keep on asking for at least 300 gold. In the end, I do accept
On
non-aggression.
behalf of our people,
Seems like it just
welcome.
no one's willing
Speak,
to give their
friend,
lands
and honor
up
us all with wit.
for armies to march through. It turned out I actually need 3,060 to be able to actually put that there. So that's a big no from me. Apologies. Now we are going to just wait and see what happens. The Thessalonican army down over in the south from Dyrrachium is just being annoying, constantly raiding, basically just being a pain. And then they march up all the way to Thessalonica, which I actually found hilarious there as well.
Ready
Because
for orders.
you wouldn't expect
Ready for
this,
battle.
wouldn't you?
Advance. Destroy them.
And we end up just absolutely crushing anything that was left of the Thessalonians. Right here, the last bodyguard of Livio is now gone, and we
March.
just ransom them off
Ready for orders.
for a
To your
few
duties, men.
extra ducats. Next turn I'm hoping to get the Orthodox Sket. As you already know, I have no clue how to say that. But I still cannot get Pelagios into the governing job. And that is pretty annoying, because some of that cultural wealth would now be wasted. And obviously now I rule over a slightly larger kingdom. Because it isn't really that large anyway, and it just grew slightly larger. In return though, we get the second largest city behind Constantinople in Europe. That once belonged to the Byzantines, that is. And that is important. Although we now learn that Michael, our king, has died, and his son, who is also awkwardly named Michael,
Commander,
is the successor. We can also finally get Pelagios into a job at Thessalonica, and then Michael over here is going to be put in the vacuum, and is going to try and marry, or seek a wife, I should say. The annoying thing about this now, I cannot build that orthodox sketch. But there is a way of going around that, and that's just asking
Be most welcome.
Your
words will find
estimate for some money, and then there goes the scat. And this platea is what we're going to be aiming for next. We are going to lower that just so
ready for orders.
we can actually do things. The extra welfare will be important. Our current leader Michael is not going to be able to even out the situation. He's unsure about the afterlife, meaning he is going to be lowering the influence of Orthodox Christianity here. But luckily, it is no problem. Just luckily. Because we have lost a lot of our growth from that. Michael is 19 years old, so that means we've got a lot of chances to possibly expand the royal family there. Now Nikephoros, the general of Thessalonica, who probably plans to get some fame for himself in the fury of the righteous, is going to get the job of being a Kephael. And what that means is that through being the Kephael, he's going to get some nice bonuses, and also it is just a pretty nice title to have, because that means he is competing for influence in this situation with our good friend and uncle to the emperor himself, Theodoros, which will be interesting. Now we get a political obstruction from Nikephoros, and he's going to use his power that he's been able to get through personally conquering Thessalonica to build up his influence. Now the Principality of Achaia, or Achaia, is starting to grow friendly to us. You can also see the Latins are at war with the Ayyubids, which means they instantly are hated by everyone who is Muslim, because just happens that every Muslim nation that is found by the Ayyubids just extremely loves them. Other than those two, no one really hates me.
Welcome, but expect
I
scant
tried to
pleasantries.
see if I could get
I lack
Trebizond,
time to waste.
which would actually give them more money, but they hate me so much that they would just not go for
We are,
a
as
positive
always,
trade
a
deal.
welcoming host to you. I await
Meanwhile,
your
the
words with an appetite
Nicaeans
for
would
truth.
actually accept a. They would think about it, I should say. sort of a trade deal.
Should we cooperate?
And
Our enemies-
we get an uneasy non-aggression pact with the Nicaeans. For the time being, we have a united foe
At your
seemingly
command.
in the Latins. The Latin Empire and those Latin bastards that still hold the holy capital of the Byzantine Empire, which you will obviously try to take back. At some point we will have to actually betray them, same with the Bulgarians. But I'm going to leave it off here as our turn comes around. If you want to see what will happen next, where will Nikephoros go with his grand army of troops, and what will happen under the reign of our new king Michael II, you'll have to see that in the next episode. I'll see you then.